In this video, I'm going to tell you one of the most powerful principles that I use to study less than 1 hour a day. Okay, last year, around exam season, I had a history exam that I had to study for. Now, I know probably you and I both dread history. History is fucking shit subject, okay? So, what did I do? Sat down on my desk. I was like, okay, finally, I'm gonna lock in. 1 hour's pass. 2 hours pass. 8 hours pass. 8 hours a day wasn't even enough. For the next 2 days, I studied 8 hours a day. So the grand total was 8 hours a day for 3 days in a row. That's 24 hours gone. If I was that student today, I probably could have done it in like 45 minutes in 3 days. 8 times faster. And I'll teach you how to do that in this video right now. So, what is the problem when it comes to studying faster? Why can't you do it? The problem is efficiency. So let me give you an example. Imagine if you were washing the dishes and I walked up to you and said, washing the dishes is completely dependent on how much time you put in to wash it. And you'd be there thinking, wait, what? No, how fast I wash the dishes also completely matters, right? If you were to wash the dishes extremely fast, you could get it in less time. You could finish washing dishes in less time, right? But if you're washing extremely slowly, then that's when more time would matter, right? So, in everything, when it comes to getting work done, there's always another variable we have to worry about other than time, and that's efficiency. So I want you to conceptualize this. Knowledge gain does not equal time studied. Knowledge gains equals time studied times efficiency. And the reason why these two variables are so crucial to understand, it's because we hate school, okay? No one likes spending any time at school. Honestly, like there's no like bare minimum. There's just no one likes spending any time in school. Like don't stop coping, okay? You don't like school, right? So the ideal scenario is where we minimize all the time we have to spend for it. And using this equation, we can actually see how to do so. It's by minimizing the amount of time we put in, we have to maximize the amount of effort we put in. The efficiency at which we gain knowledge. What is the principle that reduces my time so much that I can spend less than an hour a day studying? The principle is known as the 80-20 principle or the Pareto principle. And to quickly explain what it means is 80% of the results are obtained from 20% of the efforts, and 20% of the results are obtained from 80% of the efforts. What does this mean? Not necessarily that 80% and 20% are fixed numbers for everything in life. It's just that there is an imbalance of efforts that we put into when it comes to results. Okay, so let's jump right into 3 ways that I use the 80-20 principle to get my results. Okay, so number 1, let me ask you the question. If you only had 30 minutes to study for whatever you had to study for, what would you do? Now, there's a very easy answer to this question. I'll give you another example. So imagine you had a basketball tournament that you had to practice for, and it was tomorrow, okay? So today you have about 10 hours to practice for it. What would you do? Would you play soccer? Would you go gym? No, right? You would practice basketball because the end goal is to get good at basketball to win the tournament. So if you were practicing something else, of course it would help, but it's nowhere near comparable to doing the thing that you're trying to get good at. So this example is really weird, and it's stating the obvious that practicing, you should practice for what you're actually trying to achieve, right? But yet we still don't do this during studying. When we're studying for tests, very few people actually do practice tests for tests. What is practice tests? Well, what is a test? It's literally just a bunch of questions. So the entire idea is pretty much do practice questions because you're practicing specifically for a test. For 30 minutes, if you only had 30 minutes to study, do practice questions that are extremely similar to the test. Okay, this is the second method of which I use to apply the 80-20 principle. And I used to do math homework. And I say that as a joke because it's kind of funny when you say you used to do homework. I'll tell you how I don't do homework in another video. But I realized when I was doing my math homework that 10% of the questions actually give 100% of the knowledge. So this is the 80-20 principle. But the numbers are a bit off because in the 80-20 principle, the numbers are not exact metrics. Rather, they're just a representation of an imbalance of results. So when you apply the 80-20 principle, you don't have to use 80% and 20%. You can use 10%, you can use 100%. And what I realized is a very few of the math questions actually give 99 to 100% of the results. The hardest questions on the homework test you on what the easier questions already tested you on. See, knowledge builds on itself. So when you do the hardest questions, you're simultaneously doing the easier questions at the same time. So let's just forget about all the easier questions and go straight for the hardest questions. Now you only have to do like 1 out of every 10, right? Because math is really repetitive. It keeps teaching you on the same subjects and topics. Now, one concern you might have is, well, what if the harder questions don't teach you on a topic that an easier question does? And that easier question might be on a test. There could be an easier question that could be on a test, and you could be missing that mark. But how far will you go for that 1 mark? If you were to do all your math homework for an entire unit, let's say that's probably like 3 hours, right? 3 extra hours. You're getting 1 mark from that. If this video gave you value, just leave some of your problems in the comments and I'll try to make more videos based on your problems so the advice is more relevant to you, and this is a win-win for the both of us.